On this episode of Game Shack, I'm going to give you guys my theory of what your home arcade should be, talk about what your theory of your home arcade is, plus why I'm so glad to be a part of the home arcade community, plus a few other things, all that and more coming up next. Hey everybody, welcome on back into another episode of Game Shack. I'm your host, JDV for Evil Genius Entertainment. Thanks for stopping by, guys. As always, you are the prime sponsors of this channel, so if you can give me a thumbs up, it really does help spread the word and get more people to come see home arcade content like this. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell if you have. Okay, before I jump into the meat of the episode, a couple of quick follow-ups. One, I should hopefully have the newest lag-free edition of the firmware from atgames here in another couple of days, I think. So anyway, as soon as I do, I'll put it through the paces and have an episode for you guys up on that. Anyway, that does drop in just 10 days as I shoot this. So about a week and a half, we'll know if the lag really and truly is fixed for Adam's Family and everything else. There's a whole bunch of new games coming out. Again, that supposedly the lag has already been fixed on, so fingers crossed we'll know a little bit more about that. So anyway, stay tuned for that, and as soon as I know if it's fixed, I'll let you guys know. Another thing, thanks for everybody who watched my last episode about quality control and arcade Oneup games. A lot of you guys had some nightmare stories to tell me, and others that you had good experiences with arcade Oneup responding to you. Just for everyone who watched that episode, I've submitted a second ticket the Thursday I put that video up. As I record this, it's Tuesday the next week, so about 5 days. But it was Labor Day weekend, so I'm not going to panic. But I'll keep you guys updated on whether or not Arcade Oneup ever does respond, and whether or not I can get them to give me a PCB replacement for Tron. Thanks to the couple of people who've already reached out to me to sell me their PCBs. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed until Friday to see if I can get any kind of help from Arcade Oneup before I go ahead and do that. But anyway, thanks for everybody who watched that episode. Okay, so the theme of this episode is kind of how I set up my own home arcade and why I am so glad to be a part of this community. Kind of what got me thinking about this was watching the Cornercade last night. They had Michael B, Danny, and P-Dubs on, and it was a great show talking about the return of John D, hopefully with his company, and just kind of all over the board talking about things. And it made me really realize what a really good group of people there are in this community. You know, one of the things that the people in this community do is help keep alive the spirit and culture of video and pinball games, which is an important part of the artistic part of our culture. And I really do mean that. If you look at some of the pinball cabs that exist, they are really and truly works of art beyond the fact that you can play them. Same thing with these arcade games. That's a lot of the appeal of the arcade Oneups, is that they look so much like the games that we grew up on. And it's not just for Generation X and older type people. You have guys like Danny at the Cornercade who really didn't get to experience the arcades in the 80s and 70s, but still loves this stuff and keeps it going for another generation. And that love of both the games themselves, of the art and the culture of video games, home arcades, and the people themselves are all part of why I'm very happy that I kind of discovered this community and that I've been a part of it now for almost 3 years. So let me talk a little bit real quick about my theory of an arcade. Basically, you can set up your arcade in one of two ways. One, kind of just to make yourself and your family happy, or two, to kind of set it up for like when people come over to your man cave or your basement or a garage or whatever and trying to wow them and get them to play. So that is kind of how I've tried to set up my arcade. It isn't just for me, but it's for people who come over. I have a lot of people come over on Friday nights. It's part of why I don't post anything on Fridays or jump in those live streams. But people come over and they get to re-experience some of the things that really you can't do very easily anymore. Yes, there are some arcades in the community that I live in, but not that many, and not like you could find in the 80s where even gas stations would have 3 and 4 machines. You know, those days are gone. So it is really cool for my friends and their kids to come over and go. You know, I had a young kid come over here and, I was playing pinball and he goes, "What is that you're playing?" I said, "Well, it's a pinball game." And he was like, "What is a pinball game?" I went, "Oh boy, well, let me show you what pinball is." But a really big part of it is so I can share some of these games with other people And that really is the overriding appeal for me to have these games. Isn't just for me, because of course we can play all these games on a Pandora's box or a PC or some other ways, but to have them in their truest forms that I can get is a real kick for me anyway, and I think it does help kind of perpetuate and keep the culture of home arcades and arcades in general going. You know, and ultimately it's kind of a mix of nostalgia and cutting edge, brand new, what is going on today in the home arcade industry that really does kind of make it unique. When you're in, like, say, cars or cameras or computers, you're only really talking about the very newest, the very latest cutting edge tech, whereas that's not so much the case in retro arcading, because then you're really talking more about form factor and feel and how does it look, because most of these games are going to replicate and play very well. Now, virtual pinball is kind of its own animal, and that too is making leaps and bounds, but really we're in this not for the cutting edge tech, we're in it for the experience, the nostalgia, and dare I say, the love of both the games themselves and each other, as we all kind of have a good time. We rib each other, we watch each other's shows, we comment, do all those kind of things, and by and large, we do all of it in a very good-natured, wholesome, good way. You know, one of the things that I really hope to do, it's really one of the few things left on my bucket list, is to go visit some of you guys and see your home arcades, or to be able to hang out with you guys and have a shot of scotch or drink a Guinness or whatever with you guys. I mean, how cool would it be to go and visit Phil, PD7, and go check out see his arcades, or go with him as he goes on Best Buy, or go to Michael B's or P-Dub's arcade, right? Or go visit Danny and see his, you know, She Lions. Let's go visit Rexor, right? Let's go see how their home arcades are. Let's see what their kind of nostalgia is on their walls, and really get to see their home space. Like, those are the arcades that I want to visit, is your home arcades. I want to see how you guys have things set up. I want to be able to meet you guys someday and be able to shake your hands and buy you a drink or whatever, and say, what's your favorite kind of scotch? Oh, you don't drink scotch, you drink some of this or whatever. Well, what's your kind of favorite beer? You know, those are the kind of things that kind of keep me going and are interesting, because you guys are interesting, the people who are in this hobby. And I really do appreciate everybody who watches my videos and comments. I really do appreciate all of the YouTubers who spend a lot of hard time and work and effort to get those videos out and you know, buy all those games and everything. I really do appreciate, you know, people like PK who out of nowhere has really kept atgames going and gives us products like the 4KP, and now that allows people to play pinball who otherwise would never have a chance to play pinball. All of you guys, everyone from the top to the bottom, everyone who contributes to this hobby, to this culture, I really do appreciate it, and I hope to get to meet each and every one of you someday and check out what you have in your home arcade. Okay, so that's going to wrap up this episode. If you do dig content like this, give me a thumbs up. It really does help. You know, subscribe if you haven't already. Love each other. Until next time, I will see you in Game Shack. Or maybe your Game Shack, huh? Well, I'm waiting for some invites. All right, till next time. Mwah! Later, everybody. Bye!
Be sure to visit evilgeniusentertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.